Welcome to my video where I'm going to talk about another kit guitar that I've made, and this is a Hohner stroke Steinberger headless mini guitar copy, and it's turned out really good. Actually, it's probably one of my sort of favourite guitars in my collection now. I've always fancied one of the Steinberger or Hohner mini guitars, but they go for quite not big money, but they go, you know, at least £300–400 for a Steinberger, maybe a bit less for a Hohner, and they don't come up that often on eBay. But then when I was searching, I saw a kit for about I think it's cost £100, and I thought, well, I'll give that a go, and it's worked out really well. The quality of the kit is pretty good, but the final instrument you get out of it does, to a certain extent, depend on how much effort you put in. The important thing is the quality of the neck, because if it's twisted or something like that, and there's not much you can do to put it right. But the neck was very flat. I've got a special tool where I can check the flatness of the neck, and that was good straight out the box. The one issue was that there were numerous frets that were tall, so it would buzz out in certain places, so I had to file the frets to get that to cure that issue. One other issue was the sort of nut, this headless nut was sort of misaligned, so that the strings stood too proud of the 0 fret. So I had to use slightly larger screws and remount the holes a little bit, so that the nut now sits in exactly the right place and pushes the strings down onto the 0 fret, which is of course what you want. How did I paint it? Well, I painted it white first with just an acrylic undercoat, which you can get from any DIY store. Then I bought a while ago, I bought a selection of high-vis day glow neon paints. So I thought I'd have a bit of a laugh and make a sort of cube grid pattern. Took a while, just used masking tape and painted on all the different colours. For the sides and the back, I just painted it with the yellow, and then I did a sort of Jackson Pollock splatter with the neon paints on the back. And then how did I get the gloss finish? Well, I'm not one for spray painting, I can't stand it, and I usually do a terrible job. And it's very hard to get a really thick, shiny finish with spray paint, not without multiple coats and sanding in between coats and all that, and I just can't be bothered with any of that. So a really cool way of getting a very thick, glossy, durable finish is to use resin. So if you go on eBay or search online, you can find people who sell resin kits, and the one I bought was like a crystal clear, you know, optically clear liquid resin, 50% hardener, 50% resin. Mix that up and pour it on, and if you do one side at a time, you pour it on, it'll actually find a perfectly flat level. So obviously you lay the body perfectly flat and pour it on. You can see that earlier in the video of me applying the resin to this, and when it sets off, you get something that looks, you know, pretty good. You know, at a slight distance, it looks pretty professional. It's difficult to get it smooth around the edges, but you know, I did a reasonable job there. And then I painted the pickups, because they came with black pickups, so I just had a bit of fun there, painted them, and then poured resin on the pickups. So you sort of got glossy, shiny pickups. And for a little bit extra fun, I bought a vinyl Pac-Man inlay sticker kit. So you just cover over the dot inlays with Pac-Man stickers. It's going to give it an 80s sort of vibe here, and it's good. One issue with the hardware was that the routing for the bridge is slightly misaligned. It's a little bit too far that way. So what I had to do, so that the strings weren't coming off the edge of the fretboard here, you kind of have to work out some way of moving the bridge back this way. Now of course you can't relocate the mount points, and you don't want to be widening the route or anything, so there was a sort of simple fix where I basically just file down the lowest saddle piece on the low E string, and that shoves all the remaining saddle pieces up towards the low E string, and then just put a shim in the top here. So luckily that was one way of curing that problem. But you'll find that when you buy these kits, it'll be rare that there's not some issue that you have to put right. And I mean, sometimes I often think it'd be better if they didn't drill out some of the mounting holes, because they usually get them in the wrong place anyway. Of course, they have to do the routing for you, otherwise that'd be quite a job to do yourself. But again, they managed to get that slightly wrong. But yeah, you can expect that with these kits. Not everything's going to be perfect, so if you're not prepared or confident in doing a little bit of DIY to try and put things right, then maybe you don't want to take on one of these kits. But if you've got reasonable DIY skills and prepared to give it a go, you can end up with something that's quite unique and something that's pretty good. So the thing I really love about this guitar is it's just so small, so light, so transportable. I mean, they sell it under the sort of title travel kit guitar, and it is very easy and convenient to travel with it. I actually use a hockey stick bag because that's much smaller than a regular guitar case, and this slips right in. So if you know, I do travel abroad fairly regularly and I want to take a guitar with me, I just sling this in that small hockey stick bag and just carry it on. It goes in an overhead luggage compartment, no problem. It is a guitar that I will use for recording and would happily sort of gig with it because it sounds great. So that's a back pickup. You're on the front middle pickup. Well, sorry, middle setting here is the front and rear humbucker combined. That's quite a good setting for shred because so you get a sort of smooth tone, it's good for picking, sounds quite full when you pick the note. And the front pickup. Yeah, it's really good. It turned out great and I love it.